Hey, welcome to Engine Adventures. Today, got something a little special for you. This is a 1995 Dodge Ram. It's the Ram 2500 with the 8-liter V10, and it has the 5-speed manual transmission with the 4-wheel drive, and it's had a little bit of work done to restore it recently, but what we want to show today more than anything is how a manual transmission makes a big difference when slow speed off-roading. And this has the first gear ratio is a 5.61 to 1, something like that. Then a 272 to 1 in the transfer case. And the rear axle is currently a 355. That's going to change to probably a 411 to 1, which brings the current crawl ratio to 54 to 1, I believe. And when we switch it over to the 411 gears, it will be something in the 60s. So it has a pretty good crawl ratio and tons of low-end torque from that 8-liter V10. It's 450 foot-pounds of torque, but it has like 300 foot-pounds of torque at idle. So pretty good torque on it, and we'll show you how good it can do off-road. It supposedly had the limited slip rear. I thought it was a gear driven. I'm not even sure. I'll have to take it apart and look at it, but we are going to put a Eaton True Track in the rear, limited slip, and then a front E-locker from Eaton as well. So I've got those in the garage with the 411 gears, and I just need to get that done. But I wanted to get a video of it first to show you what it's like with the open front and rear differentials, and to show you the low crawl ratio. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We'll do the articulation test real quick, which it's not going to do very well at with open front and rear discs, but we'll do our best, and then we'll go to the hill climb. All right, so before we get into the articulation test, just want to show you, we'll go into first gear. I'm in 2-wheel drive currently. That's the sticks all the way up, and I can let the clutch out and just go. There's no throttle there. And when we get down here, we can climb this the articulation test. We can just do it in 2-wheel drive, pick up the pace a little bit. But we should be able to do it without giving it any throttle at all. This thing is a terrible ride off-road. The suspension hasn't been redone, so it's basically the factory suspension, which is pretty rough, but it has a decent load carrying capacity and everything. So here's our little articulation hill, and I'm no longer pushing on the gas. So let's just go ahead. Actually, I'm going to slow it down a little bit and see if it'll stall. And it doesn't even stall, but it's got a wheel off the ground already, so it's not going to make the climb. And I can show you both feet out the door and just the wheel spin in there. So clearly in 2-wheel drive it can't make that, but let's go ahead and set up the camera outside. We'll switch it to 4-wheel drive and try again. Alright, this first one's 2-wheel drive again. Basically an open rear. I don't know, it claimed it was limited slip, but either the clutches are worn out or it just doesn't work. Anyway, 4-wheel drive high next. Oh, didn't give it throttle. Let's try that again. Alright, 4-wheel drive high. One more time. Okay, we're just gonna go 4-wheel drive low from the start. I might try and use the e-brake. I'll make sure and let you know if I do that. So my feet are off the brakes right now. You see that? That's what this low crawl racer does for you off road. All right, so that is why gear ratio is so important. You saw me go down that hill totally in control, no problems, with my feet hanging out the door. I didn't have to use the brakes at all. And the reason it works so well, especially when you have, well, everything locked up, but if you just have the center differential locked, then you have pretty even power to each wheel. So as you're going down the hill, you might get a little bit of slippage on one wheel or whatever, but it remains controlled. If you have to use your brakes, oftentimes there's more braking force on the front or whatever, and it makes it so that it will slide more. It just makes it a little more difficult. My feet are not on the gas or the brake. I'm in first gear, 4-wheel drive low. And I mean, no brakes at all through this. That's how steep it's going down. With no problem. That rubbing's just the tire rubbing on the control arm. And it's super controlled. Takes no effort on my part. It slid just a hair there, but really, like, it's so easy to drive like this. So when you're doing technical off-roading, there are times when a manual transmission is much better than an auto. And of course you have the downhill assist and stuff like that on some of the new ones that does a pretty darn good job, but it's just not the same. This isn't working the brakes at all. There's nothing that's really gonna fatigue from doing this. Whereas on those other systems, that's working the ABS pump a bunch to make sure it keeps every wheel exactly at the right speed. Like I said before, if you lock this up, if you have a front and rear lockers as well, it's just gonna be incredibly smooth. This one, the front and rear diffs are both open. And here at the bottom, this truck is stock height. It does have 33-inch tires though. So you can see, I can clear this no problem. The back didn't drag last time. I don't think it'll drag this time. But again, no gas, no brakes. Just letting the truck do its thing. Just as smooth as it can be. All right, thanks for watching Engine Adventures quick review of this 1995 Dodge Ram. We'll do a full in-depth build review of it when we're finished with everything. It's still got a ways to go, and we'll come back and reshoot all of this once we redo the differentials and redo the gearing. Gearing won't make a huge difference, but it should help a little bit. And then with the front E-locker and rear torsion, that should also help quite a bit off-road. So thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Comment down below if any questions you have, anything you do want to see. And make sure and subscribe and ring the bell so you get notifications when we got new videos coming out. And thanks again.